Hello everyone, welcome to another video review with Joseph Nicholas. Today we're checking out Letter Luck, a game that will have you rolling for letters. This is a game for 2 to 4 players, plays in 10 to 15 minutes per game, and is ages 8 and up. Now, why did I emphasize per game? Well, soon what you will be seeing is a player sheet that has 3 separate games on them, and before I go into further detail, why don't I just show you how to play the game. This is Letter Luck, a game that will have you rolling for letters. Within Letter Luck, you're going to be finding dice, 6-sided dice of course, cards with the words on it, which I'll get to in a bit, and the player sheet. So here is a setup for 3 players. Each player is given a card, and what you'll be doing in the first game of a 3-game round is choosing one of these 5-letter words to have other players solve. And of course, which means that you will be trying to solve other players' 5-letter words. So let's say I choose image. They choose judge is cool, and they choose black. So what do these dice rolls mean? A red L means a player can guess a vowel or consonant. A black L means a player can guess a consonant. An X is no action. A circled L, a player can guess the word or consonant. A player must re-roll the individual dice. And this is the wild action. Let's get one round going here. Player rolls. They get 2 consonant questions and an X. Now here's what's cool. If a player would have gotten all 3 of one color, they'd actually get a second turn. But this player just got the 2 L's and an X. So he asks, does the words have an S in it, right? So both players, and when you play with more than 2 players, everyone just answers the questions at the same time. Or everybody answers the question that's given. So this player's like, nope, no S in judge, and they didn't say judge, and then this person looks at the word black, it's like, no S. So, on your card, I like to X the letters that I ask. So like, okay, I'd put an X over S. And then I'd ask another consonant. Another consonant I feel like is in a lot of words is K. Okay. This player's like, nope. And this player is yes. So I know that there is a K. I don't know the location. I don't know how many there are. I just know that there is a K in his. So I'll mark on there, this player has a K in their letter. So I put maybe a number that represents this player. Okay, now this player goes, ooh, they get to ask a lot of things. Now they have a couple options here, okay? So they could use their, dice in the same way I mentioned earlier. They can ask a vowel or a consonant, just a consonant, or the word or a consonant, or what they could do is actually spend their dice for more actions. So for 2 dice, if I spend 2 dice instead of just using 1 dice, if I spend 2 dice, I can find out how many of that letter is in the word. So if you wanted to spend 2 dice and be like, I don't know, how many S's are in your word? I don't have any S's, he doesn't have any S's, so he kind of fail on that one. But in different types of words, right? Like letter, there's 2 E's and 2 T's, so that, spending 2 dice to start deciphering the code behind the word would be helpful. And one of my favorite actions is if you spend all 3, right? All 3 dice, and you can't spend an X, keep that in mind. You spend all 3 dice, you can find out where the letter is in the word. So that's really nice too. So this player doesn't need to use any of those specials. So he's actually just going to be like, okay, is there an O? Well, there's no O in my word, and there's no O in that word, so he gets nothing. Okay, is there, an M, or is there a D, right? It repeats like that. And then this player goes, and perfect. So they have 1 consonant, nothing, and a letter luck. Letter luck is a wild, as we mentioned earlier. It could be anything, but one thing I didn't mention, and this is kind of fun little strategy addition right here. If the player chooses for this to be an X, then for the remainder of everyone else's turn, they are forced to turn one of their dice into an X. So that's a kind of nice way to like decrease players' chances of getting good rolls. So that continues until somebody decides that they've built up enough evidence to prove a player's word, and when they get either the circled L or a letter luck, they can ask. This player looks at me and goes, "Is your word image?" And I'm like, "Yes, you are right. I'm out of the game." This player, is that much closer to defeating that player, or this player can defeat this player, whatever. That game will be over soon enough. So for the second game, you will be choosing the 6-letter word, and for the third game, you'll be using the 7-letter word. And honestly, I know they say game 1, game 2, game 3, but I like to look at this as rounds personally, because when we play the game, we actually don't stop on just like the first game. We like to go through the whole thing because it's a very enjoyable game, and the increase in strategy of trying to solve a larger word is just really fun. Alright, so back to the original comment. Now that you know how to play the game, each game I believe takes about 10 to 15 minutes to play, but I like to play all 3 games. So I would say the game plays in about 30 to 45 minutes, because I don't just play one game. I think all 3 kind of make the game come together. Now, anyways, letter luck. Honestly, I was thoroughly surprised by how fun this game was. Initially, when I heard about the game, I was like, no, this sounds very interesting. I want to check it out. And then after I opened the box, I was like, I have my doubts. And then I played the game and I was like, wow, this is thoroughly enjoyable. And the strategy is endless. Literally, it's a word game, but it's like, you're like a detective almost. The questions are available to you in all sorts of arrangements. You could literally ask specifically to like, oh, here is the letter T that I asked earlier. I want to know how many are in your word, or where is the T located? Or you can even go as far as and ask questions like, I rolled an L, so I can ask a consonant, or I can also use the dice to ask a question. So the yes or no question I have is, do you have a letter that shows up multiple times in the word? That is a yes or no question you can ask, so the other players can be like yes or no. And then you have like the X no ability section of the dice. I think using the wild side to screw other players over, I don't know why, it's just such a cool little addition to the game. It's something you don't really think about, but that little bit of a change in somebody else's gameplay can really mess up how they go. Like, first of all, you don't have a chance to get that 3 of the same side ability to go again, which is awesome, and then the RNG in the rolls is really neat, because you don't know what you're gonna get, but some rolls can be incredibly better than others, right? Like getting 3 wild symbols in a row. Not only do you get to go again, but you could use some of those as X's, or you can like go ahead and just use them for anything you want. It's just insane like how good a turn can be versus on average what a turn can be, and how that can really shape the game. Trust me when I say that the strategy in this game makes the game, because you are a straight up detective trying to solve what these words are. And that's what makes me want to play more than just one game. I can't just stop at like a 5-letter word. It has to be like 5-letter word. Okay, let's up the ante with a 6-letter word. Okay, let's try this 7th-letter word, because it's so fun, especially race. Like when you could tell somebody might know what your word is, and you now have to race. You're like racing to be like, oh, he's this close to solving my word. I have to do what I have to do. I gotta ask the right questions. I gotta solve this problem real quick. Very, very enjoyable. Like, for an example, it was a 7-letter word, and I was convinced that their word was boredom, right? Because I had MORD, B, and there were multiple of one of the letters in there that I solved, and I was like, okay, 7-letter, it has to be boredom. So I was like super stoked. I rolled the dice, got the circle, and I was like, boredom. He's like, nah. I was like, what do you mean no? And then I had to like rework it, and then I had to ask like, okay, are there multiple O's, or like where is the B located in the word, and then it was bedroom this whole time. It was bedroom, but like it was so fun trying to solve that, honestly. Neutrals. There's nothing I really like didn't have any enjoyment for. I mean, you can't really do much with the letter game, like as far as graphics or like additional fluff. Like honestly, I'm glad there was no more added to the game. I think it was a perfect amount to give us a very valued gameplay experience. I mean, I guess, you know, splitting the games up from like game 1, game 2, game 3. I mean, seeing it as like a full round, I think makes more sense. But that's just me. I also feel like the way that the player sheet looks, you know, to each their own to how people are going to mark up the paper. But of course, when you add more than like 2 players of the game, the 3 and 4 player variant makes a lot of sense, but then the player sheet doesn't like evolve or adapt to that. Totally fine, like I make it work. But things I don't like, really the biggest issue I have is like we need a cheat sheet. Definitely need like a little cheat, you know, of all the cards in the game that have words on it, which is awesome, you know, replay values there. But like if you could just make 2 of them or 4 of them, just 2 of them, even just 1 of them, a cheat sheet showing us what all the dice do and what option we have available. Because flipping, you know, like going through the rule book is just a little, it really doesn't affect the game much, but it's like that slight inconvenience of, okay, versus like, you know, that's the only gripe I have about the game. Otherwise, I actually love this game and will be taking it with me. Board game nights or whatever. Yeah, it's not the most portable game, but if it's like a specific night where we are having like a game night, you know, if I'm having some buddies over or whatever, this game's coming out. It's very enjoyable. So if you like this video, go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead, leave a comment about what your favorite game is. Have you played any letter or word games before? And also I want to know, how nice does this fit? Right there. It fits right in. Welcome to the team, bud. And of course, subscribe. I'm like so close to 300 subscribers. It'd be really cool to hit that milestone. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next review.